As a long-time laptop stroke MacBook user, it's been years since I've had a desktop computer sitting behind me. This is the brand new 2020 27-inch iMac, and in this video, we're taking a closer look here on EMKWAN Reviews. The unboxing experience on the iMac is unlike any other Apple product. Number one, it's incredibly big, and number two is that you can actually configure it to your needs. Now, this particular model is one that hasn't been configured, so it's a standard style unboxing. To begin with, obviously you get the incredibly large 27-inch iMac all-in-one. That's the display and computer, along with the stand incorporated. As well as that, you're going to get the power cable, and alongside that you get this box. Now inside the box with this standard version, you're going to get the Magic Keyboard along with the Magic Mouse. Now there is an option to upgrade the keyboard as well as getting a Magic Trackpad as well. Just for a moment, I'm going to be out of focus and I want you to pay attention to this. The absolutely stunning 5K Retina display. This is the first thing that you'll notice when you unbox this and have this set up. It is really beautiful. It pops in terms of color, vibrancy, and Apple have made some improvements this year to the display. Two things. Number one, this now comes with True Tone technology. And we've already seen this in iPads and iPhones, but it's nice to see this included in iMacs. It matches with multiple sensors, the display to the ambient light, so you get more of a natural look and feel. And the second thing is something that you can add as an option when you're purchasing the iMac: nano textured glass. What is this? This is essentially a matte version of this glass. By standard, which is what this is, this comes in this glossy kind of display. So you'll notice as I move it towards the window, it is going to pick up some reflection. But with that nano textured glass option, it basically removes most of those situations. But it does that very similar to the display on the Pro Display XDR, but for a much lower price point. So that's certainly worth considering if you want to get rid of those glares. So as far as the iMac design, yeah, it looks very, very similar to yesteryear's iMac. Really nothing has fundamentally changed. It still has the same styling, the design. A lot of those updates have happened internally in terms of spec bumps. But this is the thing. I mean, I think the iMac design has stayed consistently the same since 2012. So it's beginning to look like it's slightly outdated. One of the things that really stands out for me are those bezels around the side. For 2020, they look chunky, but it still retains, funnily enough, its iconic styling and design. And you know, I posted this up over on my Instagram stories, and it's still got a ton of compliments. And I think that's credit to Apple's design team. They do make products, particularly for their Mac computers, that really stand out. But yeah, it is due a design update. On the back of the iMac, we have a number of quite familiar ports. To begin with, a gigabit Ethernet on the far right next to a Thunderbolt 3, two of those, and then those are next to 4 USB-A ports next to an SDXC card slot with a headphone jack on the far left. Now this year's iMacs come with Intel's 10th generation Intel Core processors. The iMac behind me is the non-configurable version. So this is pretty much the standard version that you can pick up from the Apple Store or online. And this particular model behind me has the 3.8 GHz 8-core Intel Core i7, and that's paired up with 8 GB of RAM. Now on the RAM front, you can actually upgrade the RAM to a whopping 128 gigabytes. So that's going to be more than enough if you go with that, particularly for graphic intensive work. Now on the graphic end, this particular model will have the AMD Radeon Pro 5500 XT with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Again, the graphics can be upgraded so that you get up to 16 gigabytes. So that's going to be great for people that are looking to do video editing with 6 or even 8K video. That should perform relatively well. Now another welcome change for this year's iMac, particularly for the 27-inch iMac, is the fact that Apple have completely dropped the hard disk drives. So the only option you can go with are basically SSDs, and it starts off with 512 gigabytes of SSD, which is what I have in this model behind me, all the way up through to multiple terabytes. So no more hard disk drives, only SSDs. So one of the nice things to see improved in this year's iMac is on the front there, the FaceTime HD quality front-facing camera. It's a 1080p as opposed to the standard, what we've seen in previous generation 720p. And that makes such a difference, particularly now when a lot of us are working from home, having to use this for Zoom calls, teleconferences, FaceTime, whatever it might be. It makes such a big improvement. Plus, they've also made improvements to the microphone. So Apple are calling it studio style microphone, very similar to what we've seen on the MacBook Pros, but arranged in a slightly different setup. But the audio quality combined with this video improvement means that you're gonna get better sort of functionality out of this front-facing camera setup. It's certainly been an interesting experience using a desktop, but I want to take a moment to talk about an obvious question now, which is, EMKWAN, is it worth upgrading to a 2020 version of an iMac? Well, here is the thing. I think there are some important considerations. Number one, if you are an existing older iMac user and looking to upgrade, then yeah, I think it's worth considering the brand new 2020 iMac. Plus, if you're somebody that's currently looking for an Apple-based desktop Mac computer, then it's also worth considering upgrading to the 2020 iMac. There are a couple of things here. Number one, the iMac has a ton of customizations, personalizations to get you what you want from an iMac at your price point and spec requirements. So from that perspective, I do think it's certainly worth considering. But there are a few things. Number one, the iMac design really hasn't changed in years. So if you're looking for a newer design, I think it's worth holding out, because in my opinion, Apple will more than likely introduce a newer designed iMac with the introduction of Apple Silicon. And Apple spoke about this recently. So Apple Silicon is certainly a consideration, but that is a year to 2 years away, at least by the time we get to see an iMac running Apple Silicon. But more importantly, at the same time as Apple announcing, they also spoke about their support, their ongoing support over the years for Intel-based Macs. So if you're concerned about support suddenly being dropped for your iMac, I don't think that's going to be the case. Overall, it's a very, very nice desktop computer, and I'd love to know your thoughts, so leave them in the comment section down below. Plus, if you're new around here and want to see more content, hit that subscribe button and like as well. And until next time, I'm EMKWAN, stay safe, peace and blessings.